All right, so we're getting ready to go to Oshkosh this week. So wait, this is.
I got
it. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
We're going to Oshkosh. Something like that.
What is that, a YouTuber? This is a different video. I'm sure you guys are like, where's the planes? Where's the views? Where's all that stuff? So yes, this week we're going to Oshkosh. And every week we've been essentially flying to our destination, and then that week we'll work on the video. Because we're flying to Oshkosh this week, we don't have the time. We're actually today, on Sunday, we're packing. Irene's already Tetrised the heck out of Hannah. We pretty much have everything in there except our luggage. So we're just kind of getting ready, but we didn't want to leave you guys empty-handed. So for this week, we're gonna do a compilation, and it's gonna cover, what's it gonna cover? Oh my God.
Our favorite coastal-ish airports.
Yep. And we're kind of going to go through almost looking through how our videos started to how they are today. And this is not exclusive to California. It's pretty much every airport. So I'm sure some of you guys heard we've visited 90 airports. We've actually done 76 Where's Transient Parking?
Okay.
/ Beyond the Runways now. And that's the point, is that we started Where's Transient Parking really just trying to help other pilots find parking, because that was a big issue. It was for me when I was a student and even as a new pilot. And we both were like, where do we park?
Yeah.
And then you guys asked for other things like, what do you do when you're there, right? Yep. And then it became to what it is today, and the videos are a lot more involved and it takes a lot more work. And we've loved doing them because we've loved the response that you guys have given us.
Plus, it's really fun to explore new airports.
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, it's something we do anyways. We just didn't know you guys wanted to know that middle part. So again, this is a compilation, and we'll see how this goes, but this will be the first time we ever do this, just to give us a little breathing room. Don't worry. Next week, we'll still have, we're actually working on one for you guys. So you'll have a Beyond the Runway, but for this week, Oshkosh week, it'll be one of these compilations. So we want to start with one of the early airports. And it was actually the airport that started the whole tail cam fad.
Really? That was the first one?
That was the first one? I know. And to be honest, it was because I didn't know what else to put. And that was the first part, but then Irene saw, it's coastal, right? So how can it go wrong? But she was like, let's just use the tail cam. And I was like, okay, we'll just use the tail cam. The crime in this one is that we only use the tail cam for like, I don't know, probably 2 minutes after departure.
No.
Yeah, I know. So that was the original though. And that's what we want to let you guys know is we're going to do a little tweaking. We're going to extend some of these tail cams, 2 of them in particular, because they're so short and they definitely needed more. And you know, you guys love them. So we're going to do that. So the first airport on our list, and this is in no particular order. Again, we're going to do top 5, but no particular order. Our first airport is Half Moon Bay. So you guys enjoy. So today we head up north to Northern California to visit Half Moon Bay. Now we've been trying to visit this airport for a long time, but the last time we tried, I wasn't IFR rated, and as you guys can see, it is right on the coast, so it was completely socked in. We actually got very lucky this day, as only 2 or 3 hours earlier the METAR said it was completely socked in. But now that I'm instrument rated, if I had to, I would have done an instrument approach. But even better, the clouds cleared up and we were able to get this amazing view on the approach. Now that dome on the left is called Pillar Point Air Force Station. It's used in tandem with Vandenberg, which is about 300 miles south, to monitor ballistic launches like SpaceX rockets. And for all you hikers out there, on the left side, those hills are actually hiking trails that take you to Pillar Point Bluff. Besides being mindful of that marine layer,
You also have to worry about winds, as it can get pretty gusty along the coast. But don't forget, you're sharing the airspace with the original aviators, those birds. Luckily, he saw that we were much bigger and faster. Now this runway is 5,000 feet long by 150 feet wide, so it gives you more than enough room, especially at sea level, to take off and land. Something confusing about this airport is that as we exit here on Bravo, taxiways are not actually labeled on every airport diagram that we could find, except for one. The County of San Mateo has a PDF online that has all the taxiways labeled. We'll link that in the description below. Now, if you're coming from the south and you're on flight following, keep in mind that ATC will tell you that they might lose you, so they might cut you off a little quicker than you might anticipate. So if you want to stay with them, just stay a little higher until you get closer to the airport and you should be okay. Now we're going to do a circle here only because we were completely confused on exactly where to park. And it was because on the north side of this apron is for larger aircrafts, which is actually noted on the ground. And so we made a 180 to go back to the regular parking, which is actually right in front of us right now. And here's that large aircraft only parking that I was just talking about. And at this point we realized we have to go back to the other parking, so that's what we did. Right in front of us is the terminal building, which closes at 2 every day. There's porta potties outside. Inside, when it's open, is a restaurant, which unfortunately, since we arrived closer to 4 o'clock this day, we did not have a chance to visit. Parking fees are paid online, and if it's anything like Santa Monica that uses the same vector airport systems, you'll get a bill in the mail and you just go online and pay it. Now there's about 12 transient spots and they all have tied down chains. Now you saw how amazing it looked on the way in, even better on the way out.
I hope you guys like that one. That was actually our 23rd Where's Transient Parking. And being at 76 now, that just seems like forever ago. That's 76 consistently every week. So it was a long time ago, but it's pretty cool to see where we were and where we are today. So moving on, we're gonna go to one of our next favorite airports. And this one was kind of like a last minute addition. It was part of our P&W trip.
Which was one of my favorite trips that we've taken.
I know, and that was 6 months ago?
It was in October.
It was in October? Yeah, I still remember that trip. It was amazing. But this was a surprise, and it's Crescent City, and it was number 46 on our list on WTP. Again, we didn't know what to expect. I remember doing that approach, and I couldn't believe looking down like this is, first of all, I was like, this is California, because we don't have that kind of geography, that terrain, that nature type down here. And it was all green, and it was just like an airport right on the ocean. I just remember thinking like, oh my God. And I remember I kept changing. I was gonna approach one runway and then last minute change the other one because I could hear other pilots coming in on the other runway, and I'm so glad that we came in on that one.
Oh yeah.
Because it was, I mean, you guys will see, but I don't know, how was it for you?
It was beautiful. We came over those rock formations, and I just remember looking at the runway and thinking, oh my God, there's like the beach.
Yeah.
And then there's the runway right there. It was just incredible. I don't think we'd seen anything like that
and
before.
It was so peaceful. Once you got out, it was so quiet. All you hear is the ocean.
Yeah.
So guys, enjoy actually, I got my notes here. Enjoy number 48 on our WTP list, and our second video on our top coastal airports.
So this really was the official start of our Pacific Northwest trip, because we've never been this far up north of California. Last week I did say we'd never flown so far north as Sonoma, but we had visited the area by car a few years back. Here though, it was completely new. You ever been on an approach to an airport and you thought to yourself, this can't be real? It looks so surreal, as if it could only really exist in a painting, but no, you're about to land there in just a few seconds. That is exactly what I was thinking on the entire approach as we head way north and visit Jack McNamara Field / Del Norte County Regional Airport. Yeah, I know, lots of names. Again, I usually just go with the one that I use on CTAF, which is Crescent City Airport in Crescent City, California. Now, I've lived in California my whole life and visited the entire coast between San Diego and San Francisco. But going beyond to the north is on another level of peaceful beauty. And when I say north, I mean only 11 miles from the Oregon border. Now, this airport does have commercial traffic from Oakland with Advanced Air Airlines. So it is very important to keep an eye out and an ear out for them, as they do fly in daily and they have their own terminal as well. The airport is non-towered and has two intersecting runways, 1230 at 5,002 by 150 feet and 1836 at 5,000 by 150 feet. So it gives you plenty of options for winds. But with it being right on the coast, what do you really have to worry about? Yep, that marine layer. We were extremely lucky it was completely clear, but for you IFR pilots, it has instrument approaches including RNAV and ILS. Now, this airport was used during World War II as Crescent City Outlying Field to track Japanese warships as far away as the Western Pacific, which meant places like Guam and Fiji. They did this by radio interception. So this was just a quick stretch our legs stop. So we weren't spending the night, but I have to say that the crew at the FBO Cal or Life Flight were extremely helpful. And as soon as we pulled up, a gentleman was waiting for us outside to tell us where to park, how to fuel, and make ourselves at home inside the FBO. And that is verbatim. He literally said, make yourself at home. They were well stocked with coffee, comfy couches, and restrooms. So definitely go inside if you find your way here. We wanted to take some time to give you a little context about our trip. We decided to take it during the beginning of October, and we were definitely spoiled with the weather all the way to Seattle. Pacific Northwest weather as we head into winter is nothing to take lightly. On top of that, I was already nervous as this was our first truly long cross country, so we were hoping all our planning worked out. If you guys want to know how we planned this trip, let us know in the comments. There is no cafe at the airport, but if you're flying into here for the night, you'll most likely be renting a car from Hertz or Budget, especially since there are no crew cars at the FBO. As far as transient parking, there are about 4 spots with tie down chains, and when we arrived there was only 1 spot left, but I'm pretty sure they will likely help you find somewhere to park when those spots next to the fuel island are full. Now, fuel is just a bit tricky as on the back side of the fuel pump housing is a door that opens to the payment system. There are no markings on it, but trust me, it is there. Now, in summary, it has a breathtaking approach over the ocean. There are 2 intersecting runways. There's daily commercial flights. And there is limited transient parking. Now, I'll be honest, I knew nothing of what to do near this airport until I started doing some research when we got back. I didn't realize this is redwood country, so we are already making plans to go back. If the approach wasn't enough, the departure was just spectacular. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope this video could capture even 50% of the beauty of this airport to compel you all to visit it at least once. We'll see you all next week, and until then, go fly, go discover.
So I hope you guys found Crescent City just as majestic as we did. It was so enchanting. I think we were both shocked with how beautiful it was, and it was so unexpected for us.
Oh, yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed that. We definitely plan on going back and actually exploring Crescent City.
Oh, heck yeah. I
In
think
the
we
future.
just got a comment on that we definitely have to stay the night. To be honest, I didn't even know that the redwoods were right there. And all the people there were really nice that day.
Really friendly.
Yeah, and then that departure was just, man.
Yeah.
We came in on the road, on the coast, and then we departed on the coast, and it was just like, oh my God. And that was just the beginning, really, like truly the beginning of our PNW trip, and it was going to get even better. So, but anyways, hope you guys like number 48. Now, on to number, what was this? I think it was number 32. Ooh. And I can't talk about this because this is all her. This is her airport of all airports. You guys got to guess. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you guys guess something. If you guys don't know her, you know there's one airport that she loves going to. What is that?
Monterey.
Yes.
So Monterey Regional Airport, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is my favorite airport.
Yes.
And it has my favorite FBO.
What is it?
Monterey Jet Center.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that one.
I love Monterey.
Yeah.
Just like
Like
I
you don't
always
need
say,
a reason
no,
to go.
I don't.
Yeah.
Anytime like I'm feeling down or I just
Yeah.
want to get away, I always ask Roger, do you think we should go to Monterey? I'm sure he's
It's a
tired.
rhetorical question, by the way. Do you think that's let's go to Monterey? But it is. It's such a. I remember that was on our list for a while,
Yeah.
and we never. It took us probably a year from the time we wanted to go to actually getting there. Mm-hmm. Part of it was I wasn't IFR rated, and a couple of other things, and then I did get IFR rated, and we've had some IFR approaches into there. Some really good ones.
Fun stuff.
But this is a special airport.
Definitely.
Not one time we've been there has it not been just an amazing experience.
Oh yeah. And then just Monterey and our favorite Carmel. It's just such a cool place to go and visit and really just unwind from all the craziness.
Yeah. So one other thing we'll do this is one of the other ones, one of two that we extended that tail cam because this one definitely was a crime that it was only I think a 60-second tail cam. So we're gonna extend it for you guys. It's gonna be different than the original video, so we hope you like it. And we'll see you here for the next video. Or at the next airport, whatever. You guys know what I mean.
Alright, Kilo November Monterey Tower, good morning. Stand by, landing traffic, just turning base.
Today we visit Monterey Regional Airport, which has been on our bucket list for quite a while. And after coming here not just once, but twice, it is easily one of our top 5 favorite airports. Montgomery is a friendly towered airport with 2 runways, 10 right, 28 left at 7,175 by 150 feet, and 10 left, 28 right at 3,503 by 60 feet. Personally, left traffic for 28 left kept me on my toes as I felt I was pretty close to the hills on our right as you saw. But it was never a problem, I'm just extra conservative about altitudes. Which is why I was pretty high here, and with the 7,000 foot runway and the FBO being all the way on the departure end, there was no rush to get down. Now let's talk weather. This is a quintessential coastal airport because the marine layer is nearly always a factor, especially in the mornings. When I left home this morning, the airport was socked in, but luckily ceilings lifted enough for a VFR approach. I was with flight following, so I was fully prepared to shoot an IFR approach if I needed to. Which is exactly what I had to do the second time I came, to ILS minimums no less. Not something I'm looking to make a habit out of, but there's a reason you learn go missed during IFR training, and I was seconds from going full throttle and diverting to Salinas Airport a couple of miles away. But we broke out the clouds just in time.
Aero 39 Hotel, City Parking.
Monterey Jet Center, 39 Hotel.
Air 39er Hotel, left turn, Kilo, taxi to Jet Center via Alpha Echo, monitor ground 120.87 to the ramp. Have a good day.
Left on Kilo and Monterey Alpha Echo 39 Hotel. Thank you.
Number 39er Hotel, monitor ground.
Monitor ground 39 Hotel.
Monterey is a commercial airport with airlines such as Alaska, American, and JSX, just to name a few. So naturally, there is a commercial terminal. The airport is in the middle of construction to relocate Taxiway Alpha. Currently, you'll see some construction south of Taxiway Alpha, which looks like it's starting with the land adjacent to the terminal. So just note that in the coming months, Taxiway Alpha could look very different. Officially, Monterey was opened in 1941 by the local communities when they formed the Monterey Peninsula Airport. And of course, the war happened and the Navy leased the land and opened Naval Auxiliary Air Station Monterey, which was open until 1972. Unfortunately, there is no transient parking, but Monterey has two FBOs, Del Monte Aviation and Monterey Jet Center, which were highly rated according to the pilot's Yelp, otherwise known as 4Flight's comment section. And so why did we choose Monterey Jet Center? Because we wanted access to a crew car, and as far as we could tell, Del Monte doesn't have crew cars, which we could be wrong, but we couldn't find it. Now, we were going to visit Del Monte on our last visit since we knew we'd be renting a car, but most of their building was under construction, so we opted not to. But if you've been to Del Monte, we'd love to hear your experience. Monterey Jet Center has become our favorite FBO so far of any airport because every single time our experience has been nothing short of spectacular, as they have been courteous and just a completely smooth visit. And no, they didn't pay us to say this, not that we would mind. Alright, listen up my GA pilots. You ever want to feel like a VIP, even in the midst of all those private jets? When you enter the building, go straight ahead and there are private pilot rooms. It's one of the few times that private jet passengers are wondering what's back there. Honestly, I'm sure they have access just like all of us, but they rarely ever go. And as always, we'll put a cost breakdown in the description below. Oh, and one more thing to make you feel like $1 million is renting a car and having it parked right where you are parking your plane. Just make sure you reserve the car through Monterey Jet Center as they get a crew discount. So we typically don't travel in the middle of summer, but in late July, early August, it's peak time for people to travel into Monterey. It's packed with people, and we were told that the week after our visit, it's insane because it's car week. And by car week, I don't mean any cars. These are cars that contend in one of the ritziest car shows we have ever seen. And it all culminates at Pebble Beach, if that tells you anything. Both FBOs are closed this week unless you do a 24-hour prior permission request. So to summarize, there is construction that will change how Taxiway Alpha looks in the coming months. There is no transient parking, but there are two highly rated FBOs, and expect marine layers to last into the early afternoon with low ceilings. Everything about this airport is scenic, even the departure, so go fly, go discover.
So we hope you guys like that extended tail cam out of Monterey, because again, it's the coast. Like, you can't go wrong with an extended tail cam. And we're so sorry we didn't do it the first time. But again, we hope you like number 35.
34? 32.
32.
Not only are we terrible with names, apparently we're terrible with numbers as well.
So yes, we hope you enjoyed number 32. So now we move on to an airport that I swear as soon as we got on the approach, all my stresses just kind of like went away. So the interesting thing about the PNW trip is right before we officially started it, I had a work conference. And so obviously all the work conference stuff, it's all stressful and you're trying to do all that. And the day we arrived at Tillamook, I remember just looking down like, this can't be this is like the place that you see in movies that's just green. And it was just like, I literally just felt like all the weight off my shoulder just drop. And I was still on the approach. I was still on downwind. But I just remember just like, oh my God. And then I remember looking at the hangar, and that looks so surreal. And again, we're still on the approach. We haven't even landed at this point. We finally land, and we taxi over to Transient, and just looking, and I think I kind of mentioned in the video, I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned looking over and just being like, oh my God, that is just like a postcard picture. And then our experience there,
like, incredible.
It was, right? Like, and I mean, she still dreams about going back.
I can't wait to go back.
I know, I can't wait to go back, because where we stayed at was amazing. We still talk about the egg sandwiches?
The breakfast sandwiches?
Breakfast sandwiches.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's just seriously, it was what we needed at the time. It was so perfect, and we really can't wait to go back to the PNW. But again, this was part of a PNW trip, and it was number 49, and it was amazing. And this is the first time we ever did an extended tail cam. And it was because, honestly, when we looked at the footage, we were like, how can we not show it all the way?
It was beautiful.
And even when we showed it all the way, there was somebody who still wanted it even further. Don't blame him. At this point, we didn't know if you guys cared about that, if you wanted that. But we're so glad we still have the footage. So either way, hope you guys enjoy it. Number 49, Tillamook Airport.
If there is one place on this trip that my wife still dreams about to this day, it's this place right here. And for many reasons, and we'll talk about some of those as we visit Tillamook Airport. So some context about how we ended up at this airport. I love cheese, especially Tillamook cheese. Unfortunately, I can't indulge in it too much. I'm lactose intolerant, and I get massive migraines, especially if I don't take an enzyme pill to counter the effects. My mom ended up buying me a hat from this Tillamook factory, which had me curious. So I looked it up, and lo and behold, there's an airport in the city with the same name as my cheese. I added it to the list of airports to visit, and a year later, here we are. The first thing I learned about this airport was that it had a massive wooden hangar as an air museum. Now, we have a personal connection with these type of hangars because near us in Southern California, we had two of the largest wooden hangars in the US in Tustin, California. And over a year ago, we lost one to a huge fire, which is actually the hangar we toured over 10 years ago. Coincidentally, Tillamook also used to have two hangars and one also burned. I can't give justice to what it feels like to be inside one of these structures, but I can't recommend enough to go to one and experience it for yourself because they really can be gone any day. Tillamook Airport was commissioned during World War II, and it primarily housed blimps, which were used for reconnaissance, or anti-submarine patrol, and convoy escorts. It is an untowered airport with two intersecting runways, 1331 at 5,001 by 75 feet, and 0119 at 2,911 by 75 feet. Being that this is officially the Pacific Northwest, you can definitely expect rain, clouds, and fog. So there's an RNAV approach for my IFR pilots out there. We were crazy lucky that this day it was clear, temperatures were just perfect. We had been tired of the SoCal heat, which followed us to NorCal, but here we were in heaven. As far as transportation, well, that depends if you want to play your luck or get something assured. The sign at the admin buildings just says, if you don't see the Crown Vic, then there's no courtesy car. Well, we were spending a couple of nights, so we used a local auto body shop. Yeah, I know that's kind of weird, but it's a great shop, E&E Auto Body, that rents cars, and the good news is they will drop it off at the airport for you. The bad news is that if you're coming or leaving on the weekends, you have to pay for those days. For example, we came in on Saturday, but they dropped it off on Friday, and we paid for that extra day. They will also ask for insurance coverage information, just FYI. But besides that, it was so easy. There will be a lockbox, you get your keys, drive the car to your plane, unpack, and when you're departing, just do it all in reverse. It was completely simple. We'll put the link to their website in the description below. And yeah, that's why they parked the car rental. The Pilot's Lounge in the admin building is a great place to visit if you want to take a quick break. They have couches, a small kitchen, and I'm pretty sure coffee. But we were excited to go into town, so we went in briefly just to use the bathroom and ask what the overnight fees were. The gentleman working there kind of chuckled and just said there are no fees. It took my brain a second to process that. I think I might have short-circuited it and just said, really? Sorry, I'm from California. We are charged for everything. As called out earlier, there is self-service fuel, and I found the prices along the coast to be just a little bit more expensive in comparison to inland prices, but with those views, to me, it was negligible. Tie downs with chains are plentiful, as you can see. And as I said, I'll reiterate, no overnight fees. Again, it just blows my mind. But things can change, so always double check. So I talked about the museum. I was in complete awe on my view out the window, looking at not only the hangar, but the background, the foreground. I mean, it was all amazing. It looked like a painting. I swear for the first hour, every 5 seconds, we kept telling each other, look at that. Wow. Oh my God. Like everything just looked picturesque. Seriously, Tillamook, it's just unfair how beautiful your town is. Speaking of the museum, it's definitely a must, and you definitely need a car to visit it since it's pretty far. You have to go all the way around the airport. One of my surprisingly favorite parts is this huge diorama of the stages of World War II. Don't miss it. So in summary, visit the Air Museum. That is definitely a must. Coastal fog can definitely be a factor. Plenty of free transient parking. Car rentals are available with reservation and airport drop-off. We usually leave this part just as a wrap-up, but bear with us, there's so much more that we'd like to tell you just so you guys are well prepared when you guys get there. As you might have guessed, there is no cafe on the field, but I can't recommend this enough. Go to the Tillamook Creamery for lunch. Food was delicious, and it really seems like the town used it as a food hall, so it can get a little busy, but definitely worth it if you're visiting. Also, visit the lighthouse. You'll see signs for it. Seriously, stuff of postcards. The coast is on another level of beauty, and that's all I'm gonna say. And finally, we typically don't shout out a business, but this is a place my wife and I still dream about. Like literally, we would fly just for this little place, and it's called Lindsay's. Literally the best breakfast English muffin sandwich I've ever had. I mean, my wife hates breakfast. She hates it, and she wants to go back here. If you guys get there, go to Lindsay's. It's a little hut, and it's amazing. If it's not already obvious, we fell in love with the Oregon coast, and Tillamook Airport is the perfect backdrop for a trip here. It's easy to visit, and I'm so glad it made it to our bucket list. Plans are already in the works to visit again. And I'll leave it at that, or I'll just keep rambling. And as always, you guys are truly incredible. I had a friend recently ask how the channel's going. His biggest fear of starting his own was all the negativity. I told him it's blown my mind how well received our channel has been. I mean, it's always scary putting yourself out there and trying to maintain consistency, even as life continues its ups and downs. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you all to all of our 700 plus subscribers. You guys kept us motivated all year long. You guys have no idea how much we appreciate you. So thank you so much. So we'll see you guys next week as we continue our PNW trip. Until then, go fly, go discover.
hope you guys liked, and you know what? We hope you guys loved Tillamook, because we love that place. Seriously, still dream about it today. All right, so moving on. This next airport has been Easter egg this whole time. If you can see.
Are you giving them a hint?
I've been giving them hints the whole time. Our final airport on our list is actually an airport we redid. So this was actually our number 10 airport that we covered on Where's Transient Parking. And we redid it at number 63, Beyond the Runway. But it hadn't been officially Beyond the Runway. I think it was still Where's Transient Parking.
I think so.
But the idea of being more in depth about what we were covering was already starting to come together. And again, it was thanks to a lot of you of telling us what you wanted, and we tried to fulfill that for you guys. And it seems like it's been working. But Catalina is not only coastal, it's surrounded just by water. And it's really one of those truly special places we have down here in SoCal, because how many times can you go land on an island? I know there's other places around the country, but for us here to have that here is so much. And that's what you learned about Seabees.
Yes.
Right? And they're the ones who built that. That's our whole mission, is to build things with only the equipment that they have.
Yeah, limited resources.
Yeah.
And they practice on Catalina Island, and basically rebuilt that runway, and it's still standing today. So they did a spectacular job. And
yeah.
Yeah,
and like I said in the video, the airport means a lot to me because it was the second airport I ever landed at. That's all thanks to Justin. He was a good influence.
Yeah, second airport. The student pilot.
I know. I did my solo, and then the next lesson, I don't know if it was the next day, but the next lesson, he was like, "You want to go to Catalina?" I was like, yes. Of course I want to go to Catalina. What kind of question is that? And I think I remember that one so vividly because I listened to everything he told me on the way in the approach, and I actually have it on Instagram, that post, because I was so excited about it, and he was just like, okay, do this, and then I did everything he did, and the landing was perfect. I don't know if I've landed that good since, but still, it was, at that point, it was amazing.
Sounds like you need Justin back in the
I know. I don't think he'll mind either. But it's such a great place because you really feel like you're away from everything. And so we love going there. And we hope you guys love this one. And actually, one of the things that we were concerned about this video, it was the first time we did a tail cam in conjunction with a handheld. Because the tail cam, if we just kept the tail cam, you guys would have just seen ocean the entire time.
Which is nice too.
But it's just blue. You don't see anything else. You don't see any terrain. And it was only after we left. Remember, we were like, oh, we should have turned the camera inward and maybe, but I guess it didn't matter because you guys loved it. You guys still talk about it today. So we're very proud of it. So we hope you guys like our number 63 video, Catalina Island.
Ask any pilot in SoCal what airport they have on their bucket list, and this next one is almost guaranteed to be on it. I mean, how can it not be? It's on an island after all, and it's called the Airport in the Sky.
Catalina traffic, Aero 19039, hotel over 2 harbors, 3,100, descending and setting up for the 45 or 22, full stop, Catalina.
First, let me clarify. I make this call much later. I just liked it for the intro and wanted you to be able to see 2 harbors as you heard it back. Now, we don't know how we thought on our first version of Catalina's Where's Transient Parking that a 3.5-minute video was enough time to showcase one of the most beautiful airports of really anywhere. But we're back to make things right. We'll discuss the first thing you must do after parking, what list you don't want to end up on, and we'll show you a must-do spectacular hike, all as we visit Catalina Airport in Catalina, California. Fun fact, our home airport of Corona and Catalina share the same frequency, so we will occasionally hear traffic from here.
Traffic 63482, 2,700 descending. Gonna circle the field, fly over the field after left downwind for runway 25. Corona.
Alright, traffic Cherokee 2249 Tango is approaching 2 harbors at 5,000 feet. We've got the aircraft in sight over 2 harbors. We'll follow inbound, enter on 45 for right traffic 22 Catalina.
Catalina traffic, Aero 1939 Hotel, entering a 2 mile 45 for 22 full stop, Catalina.
July 30th, 2011, Irene buys me a Discovery flight from the very airport we're actually hangared at right now. Who would have thought? It's crazy. The Discovery flight was our first time we were ever in a small airplane, and it was a flight around Catalina Island. We remember vividly flying around the back and seeing how blue the water was, almost like we were in some exotic island. Don't worry, we'll fly back there at the end of this video to show you exactly what I'm talking about. It was amazing, but that one flight was all we could afford at the time, and the thought of owning a plane was a pipe dream. That was until, fast forward almost 11 years to August 26, 2022, and this was the first airport outside of my training airport of Chino that I landed at as a student, with Justin of course, and I credit him for having that much trust in me to attempt an airport that a lot of flight schools won't let you go to without a checkout. So yeah, every time we come here, I think of that first Discovery flight, my first time landing here as a student, and generally how never in our wildest dreams did we think I'd be a pilot, let alone us as aircraft owners. It's pretty crazy. And here's a mistake that I think a lot of pilots do when they fly out of untowered airports, which is call out their own airport.
Catalina traffic, Aero 1939 Hotel, entering the right downwind, 22 full stop, Catalina, Corona.
Something to keep in mind that is highly advisable when flying to Catalina is to carry life vests, because you will be outside of glide range from any coast. We have the inflatable ones that we wear when flying, but even the cheaper foam ones will do, just put them in the back seat. The other thing you want to do is keep an eye out for boats if you do have to ditch, because you want to be as safely close to them as possible in that event. So a little history on Catalina. It was built up as a tourist site in the 1920s by William Wrigley Jr. Yeah, that Wrigley, the chewing gum company. And in 1941, his son Philip built the airport and called it Buffalo Springs Airport. As with most airports during World War II, the military took it over as a sub-base for Marchfield.
Catalina traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning right base, 22 Catalina.
The predecessor to the CIA put debris on the runway so no enemy aircraft could land on it, but after the war in 1946, it was open for public use and officially called Catalina Airport. Today, the airport is a class Golf with one runway, 0422 at 3,000 feet at an elevation of about 1,600 feet. Now, there is a tower, but it is not for air traffic control. It's where you pay your fees and can ask questions like where to park. More on that later.
Catalina traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning final, 22 Catalina.
If you are landing runway 22, know that right before touching down, you might only be able to see the first 2,300 feet of runway, since it upslopes 2.1%, which has definitely scared some pilots. Just know you still have another 700 feet when it levels off. And finally, the hours of operation are between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. year around, and there are no lights on the runway. We always schedule to leave at 4 o'clock. In case we have any issues with Hannah or the weather turns, at least we have an hour to make accommodations to spend the night. Now there is a landing fee, and for single engine piston it's $38, which to some might seem steep, but we did a deep dive into what these fees are used for, And really, there's a lot to it. We could spend a whole video just talking about this topic, but in a nutshell, in 2019, the Marines and Seabees, who are part of the Navy, aided in the reconstruction of the runway. Quick side note, keep a mental note of this hiking trail. We'll bring that up a little later. So prior to 2019, Catalina was spending $250,000 a year to patch the runway since it was asphalt. But the Marines, who are experts with concrete, changed it to concrete during the reconstruction. And it's because of this that they expect it to last for 75 years with an estimated 40 operations per day. But as I said, the fees are more than just the airport. They help with habitat restoration, wildlife protection, and education programs, just to name a few of the benefits. There are opposing voices for the airport, and these fees are used to offset some of the environmentalist concerns.
Traffic Arrow 3 now, hotel clear of 22, Catalina.
Now, if you plan to visit often, they do have a membership program for the Conservancy called Aero Club at $175 per piston, which is an add-on to any base membership that starts at $35. I won't pretend that I was always happy to spend $38 per visit, but when we think about everything they do, we might just sign up for that membership now. Oh, and you get a free cookie on every visit. Today was just a beautiful day, clear skies, but it is an island and you have to consider the marine layer, which can at times be below the runway, which makes for a spectacular view. The average temperatures year-round are highs between 63 and 72 degrees, which is just perfect, especially for hiking. There are two instrument approaches for those cloudy days, the GPS Alpha and GPS Bravo, which pilots might know mean that they are not straight-ins. I've never done either since my conservative nature means I just don't mess with the weather when flying over the ocean and onto a runway considered to be like landing on an aircraft carrier. But if you're on a VFR arrival, the suggested course is to fly over 2 harbors and then make a 45-degree entry for right traffic for 2-2 like we did here today. It was such a nice clear day, it was no wonder that parking was almost full. But if you get there and you don't know where to park, you can always reach out to Unicom, and the gentleman in tower will help you navigate to a parking spot. In general, pretty much the entire middle field is open for parking, and it does have cables for tie downs, but you must bring your own straps. And one of the most important things to factor in is that the airport has no fuel. So when you plan your fuel requirements, do it for a round trip. So the first thing to do when you land is go pay your fees. And in case you forget, there will be signs that will remind you, go pay your fees. There is a shuttle that will take you to either Two Harbor or Avalon. It's not cheap and you must reserve ahead of time because it can get full pretty fast. And while you're at Tower, take a moment to enjoy the panoramic view of the entire airport. When you go up to pay, you'll see a board in the back of the room, and that's a list you do not want to be on because that's a list of people who didn't pay. We have seen familiar tail numbers on that board, but we blurred them out because we're not here to shame anyone. Just make sure you always pay your fees or that alien will come after you. Now, the main reason why pilots fly here, besides the view of course, is the Airport in the Sky restaurant. One of the most unique items is the Buffalo Burger, which I think everyone should try at least once. They also have a full menu which includes a selection of large cookies, which if you saw our earlier Catalina video, you'll know my first time here was a mad dash to get a free cookie with Justin. That still makes me laugh to this day. And don't forget to enjoy your meal outside in the patio area. You get views of the island, the ocean, and even the planes coming in to land on 2-2. This is probably our 4th time here, and our first time coming prepared for a hike. If you're an avid walker, we can't recommend the airport loop enough. It's almost 3 miles long, so it's not necessarily short, but it's not too long either, and you get to have views of both sides of the island. With a lakeside bench stop. Even better though is the ultimate view of all the planes coming in to land on 2-2. They literally fly right over the trail, which is just spectacular. Make sure you have water and good hiking shoes though, as there's one portion that even though it's probably only 4 to 6 feet high, it's like you're climbing or descending completely vertical. Between the highest to lowest point is 351 feet. It's fun walking down. It's a little more work walking back up. All right, so after a couple of hours, it was time to head home.
Catalina traffic, Aero 1903 Manor Hotel, taxiing from parking to runway 22, Catalina.
The departure can be a little tricky. First, know that the run-up area is at each end of the taxiway. Suggestion is to reach the end of the taxiway and angle yourself so you aren't blowing your prop wash straight back in case someone else is also on that same taxiway. Now, deciding how to depart comes down to the strength of the winds. If the winds are calm, 0-4 is an easy decision with the downslope. But if the winds favor 2-2 with at least 5 to 8 knots, then we depart uphill on 2-2. But that is strictly dependent on the performance of your aircraft. The windsock is also a great real-time indicator of the strength of the winds and direction. It literally changed directions from our taxi to our departure, and we made sure to again look at that windsock to confirm our decision for runway 22 right before departing. Don't forget the most important part though, matter of fact, it's mandatory. Announce your departure, which again, you're an amazing pilot, so you do that anyways, right? And you're going to want to taxi very slowly because even though the runway is meant to last 75 years, the taxiway, not so much, and you'll feel the bumps all the way. We even call out a pothole at the end of our taxi. Before we close this out, we want to give two huge thanks. We haven't asked anything of you guys but to fly and discover. But we had enabled super chats and super thanks, and we just left it until we had some type of strategy to use it. 2 weeks ago on our KMRY video, we got a super thanks, our first ever, from Chris at ChrisHope7086, which it really just blew us away. We literally couldn't believe it. And then shortly after that, another super thanks from Tony at CatDRL2. We felt like we were on top of the world. And then last week on our John Wayne video, Chris came in again with another super thanks. To be honest, we weren't ready for it because we were just not expecting it. But we knew the least we could do right now is to showcase both of you and thank you so much. The feeling of someone being compelled to pay us for something we have created from scratch was probably the richest we have ever felt, especially since our goal really is to grow this channel. So again, thank you, Chris and Tony.
Catalina traffic, Aero 1939 Hotel, taking runway 22 for right downwind departure, Catalina.
Catalina Airport really is such a unique experience, and it's unlike any other airport. And since my first discovery flight over 14 years ago, this day would be the first day that we would fly around the island, and it would look just as beautiful as the first time. Now, we would have loved to do just a tail cam all the way around, but then you would just be looking at the ocean the majority of the time. So we'll change it up a little bit for this one and combine the front camera, the tail camera, and even a handheld camera to keep it engaging. You truly are amazing, and we had another week of just some amazing stories about John Wayne Airport, which we loved, and even got to hear some of the linemen at ACI Jets, which is also pretty exciting for us. Maybe we'll get some of them on camera next time. We would love to cover everything or get everything right all the time, but we make mistakes and omit important information sometimes. But you guys keep us honest, and we appreciate you so much. We'll see you next week, and until then, go fly, go discover.
Alpha traffic, Catalina speed, jumpers away from flight level 180, directly above the airport, Yukon.
Catalina traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning right crosswind 22, Catalina. Catalina traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning right downwind 22, Catalina.
Catalina traffic 5718 Bravo, taking off from runway 22 with a right turn out. Catalina traffic, Cherokee 43241 on the ramp taxi 222. Catalina traffic. Catalina traffic, Cherokee 241 on the downwind for runway 22. Catalina traffic, Cherokee 241 turning base, runway 22, Catalina traffic. Catalina traffic, Cherokee 241, clear runway 22, Catalina traffic. Catalina traffic, Cherokee 241, taking off runway 22, close traffic, Catalina traffic.
It's so hard to believe that Catalina is so incredibly scenic, and we're incredibly lucky to have it so close to our coastline. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of our favorite weekend, like, day trips, right? Not even a getaway, just for the day.
Yeah, because it's only what is it, like a 30-minute flight for us?
Maybe, if that.
I mean, like anybody in SoCal, that's probably 30, maybe 45 minutes at most.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And every time we land there, it's just like a sense of accomplishment.
Well, and a fun fact about us, I think we've been to Catalina
Oh yeah!
every way possible, except for swimming, which I don't even know if that's possible.
I think they have done that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Okay.
So we have gone there by ferry.
By ferry.
We've gone there by helicopter. We've flown ourselves there.
On ourselves there. And the one that we... Oh man. I probably would never do this again. But there was a specific reason why we did it that time. But we jet skied there.
We did, all the way to Catalina. And for those of you wondering, it's about 2 hours each way?
2.5 hours.
Okay.
Each way. Yeah.
And you feel it. It is...
I mean, it's such a tough thing to do that you have 3 breaks.
I think so.
You have 3 breaks along the way. And it wasn't until we got back that they were like, oh yeah, this little area next to Long Beach that we have to go through and go out of is called the washing machine. Mm-hmm. And we were like, where was that information earlier on?
But you know, it was really cool.
Wow. Oh, we got to see the dolphins.
The dolphins played with us. We had,
Yeah.
it was like a giant school of dolphins that were just swimming alongside our jet skis, and they were so playful. It was so much fun. I think that was one of the coolest.
That was
That
really
part
cool. Yeah.
was very cool. And
We'll
made
never
it-
do it again, though. We'll
It made
never
us
do it.
forget how dangerous that was.
Yeah, we will never do that again.
But yes, we have been to Catalina 4 different ways.
Yes.
And it's fun to be able to say that.
It is, yeah.
But,
no, it is.
yeah.
We love going by airplane the most right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah. But we hope that you guys like the compilation. And we want to finish by saying thank you so much. You guys have seen there's been a lot of, there's been a big evolution in the channel on what we started with, what our mission was initially, which is still part of our mission. It's just our mission's now gone bigger. We've expanded what we want to do. But talking to you guys on the comments, sorry, Irene's scared that the wind's gonna blow this camera down. Talking to you guys on the comments, whether it's through email or through Instagram or through the YouTube comments, it's been nothing short of amazing. And then because we get so much information from you guys, and then you guys tell us how much you guys really enjoy the channel. And to be honest, that was our goal. But starting YouTube is not an easy thing. As I always say, it's not like we have infinite amount of money to do this. We love doing it, and the support that a lot of you guys have given us through Patreon, through Super Thanks, through the YouTube memberships, through all of that, like all that helps tremendously.
Big time.
Tremendously. We're seriously touched every time we get something. I can go on and on. It's kind of surreal to be at this point. First of all, that we have so many videos on YouTube that we can build a compilation out of it. And second, that you guys have just like loved what we've done. But I think our favorite things to always hear is, I didn't know that this airport existed, or I didn't know you could do that, or I've been wanting to do that and didn't know how to. Now I do, and I'm gonna go. I mean, every time we hear that, we're just like, oh, that was our mission. That was the mission.
But you know what I also love?
What's that?
Is hearing people's stories.
Oh my God, yeah.
So
Yeah.
every time you share your story or experience about a place or an airport, it's just like, I think it's so cool.
Yeah, because the history, you're just like, oh, these people are amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the things that people have shared with us are incredible and incredibly personal too. And we so appreciate that level of comfort that we can share with you and you can share with us. Amazing. And we love that so much.
Yeah. And we want to clarify something. We will be filming our entire trip to and from Oshkosh. And why is that?
Because at least on our way,
Yes.
we're going to be hitting 6 new airports
6 brand new airports.
that we've never been to. It'll be our first time.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this would be the longest cross-country trip we've ever done.
I think I said over 1,600
1,600 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's much longer than Washington.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. And parts of the countries I've never been at all. I've never flown there in commercial or anything. So that's going to be really interesting. And we're going to go the southern route going, and we're actually going to come back the northern route. Hopefully stopping in places like Montana, Wyoming. I heard they're kind of beautiful there. So as long as the weather cooperates, that should be pretty fun. And then what else? That's it, right?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Oh, and the airports that we're going to be hitting that are new, we might not have a chance to film them the way we normally do for Beyond the Runway, only because we are on a bit of a schedule trying to get to Oshkosh on a specific date.
Yep.
But we will cover as much of the airport as we can in the time that we have there.
Right.
With the intent of going back and actually doing a full Beyond the Runway for each of these airports.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're trying to beat the weather and get on there, get to Oshkosh by Saturday morning. I think that's when it is. So before all the craziness starts, because it is our first time.
And we also want to be there to see all the mass arrivals.
Yeah! Yeah, I even found out that the mass arrivals start Saturday later in the day, right? So we want to see all of that. So we're going to take in a lot. We'll share a lot of it with you guys. So stay tuned for that. But in the end, thank you guys so much. Seriously, we talk about you guys all the time. Every comment, every request, every correction, everything. We can't believe it.
Yeah.
And we'll keep doing this as long as we can. And but again, with all your support, looks like it'll be for quite a while. So thank you guys so much. And again, hope you guys like the compilation. We'll see you guys later. And don't worry, next week, brand new one. See you guys.